Welcome to the Goodman podcast. It's always good to be here, but today I have a special guest, somebody I've known for many years now, Vishal Chandra, a great friend and somebody I really look up to when it comes to everything. Technology, marketing, startups, you name it, right? This guy is the man when it comes with somebody who understands this world really well. So, over to you, Vishal. Firstly, welcome. Tell us, who is Vishal?
Thanks, Raj, for having me on your podcast. And it's nice to be here. We've chatted often, but good to do it on the podcast as well. I basically have been a tech entrepreneur for 20 plus years now, and I've always done a startup. I never went into a job or anything like that. But when I was graduating, this is like when the dot com had burst, so long time ago, and they weren't really very interesting jobs. And I had studied electronics, and I wanted to build electronic stuff. So I would call myself as a builder who enjoys building stuff. And the only way for me to build stuff was to end up starting a company. And my first startup was in the electronic space, building wireless hardware. I did that for about 7 years. And then I realized that more interesting stuff is happening in the cloud computing space and software. And software is moves and evolves actually a lot faster. So that's when I entered in the software space. And in software, I started working with a couple of different startups. And one of the founders I worked with, he had very strong healthcare experience. So I helped him build two healthcare startups. The first was called Glimpse, which got acquired by Apple. And then later on, there was a startup called Citizen, which was again a healthcare data platform. We did a lot of machine learning work, systems, built machine learning systems there, and that got acquired sometime in 2021 by Invite for about $350 million. So that was a good exit. And these were all Bay Area startups while I was based in Delhi and building out the teams in India. And around 2021, I shifted to London. So I've been here for the past few years and continue to build out AI and machine learning systems.
Wow, what an incredible journey, Vishal. I mean, obviously, you've done so much. You've always taken that sort of entrepreneurial approach and mindset. And you mentioned in your own words that you're a tech entrepreneur as well. So that's just incredible. Now, as we jump into this space of machine learning and AI, this is a ever evolving space. The last few years, taking a rocket ship approach, hockey stick. I heard Elon Musk saying that the hardware, the software, the whole AI ecosystem is growing 100x in per year. So it's a really fast growing thing. I mean, where does this take the incumbents, the ones who are being dominant in the space? For example, Google. The real AI startup in many ways did a lot of machine learning, and as we know, search today. What do you think is going to happen to search engines, for example, and other people as well? Do you think this is the end of search, for example, in your eyes as you see the world today?
I think that's a very interesting question. And I think, see, just like the internet, just like the smartphones, the same way AI is kind of changing the entire space as to how end users, consumers behave. It's a major behavior change, right? So that is basically what is changing, and people have been used to doing searching on the internet, searching on Google, then going to different websites, and they click on different links. So there was this traffic flowing via the links, different links, and there was linking was so super important. And now
Yeah,
suddenly nobody really cares about the linking and everything.
yeah,
People are just saying that they can just get the answers directly, right? It's a paradigm shift, but it's a paradigm shift in how users are behaving. And when user behavior changes, new large businesses will rise up, new startups will become more successful. There'll be new dominant players in the market. We have seen OpenAI succeeding quite a bit. And obviously, the incumbents which leverage the previous user behavior, like Google. And Google is all driven by link, right? You click on links, you click on ad, and that's how they run their business. And that business is getting disrupted because people behavior is also changing drastically. So it may not be the end of Google, because obviously Google is a big company. They have a cloud platform. They're very great at technology and everything. But it is definitely going to be the end of the ad-based link clicking business, the way Google has been running it.
Understood. Understood. So the market might be different from what how we know it. It might be different kind of mindsets and approach. The question I want to ask you is obviously link building and Google searches might be a little bit different now, but do you anticipate that there is going to be a new market, a new trend, a new approach to searching? Do you think it's going to be more open AI? For example, look at the Perplexity AI, for example, they're doing a great job at it. Do you think that's the new market for us?
So, people are not going to stop seeking information.
Yeah.
They need information, so they will
Yeah.
search for information.
Yeah.
There'll be a little bit more of discovery also. There'll be a lot of information searching. And I mean, people are not going to stop asking questions, right? So that's what ChatGPT is about. You ask questions, you want them to do stuff for you. So that is always going to happen. I think the another shift that's been happening and is basically consumers are becoming willing to pay. They're willing to become spend money, right? So the free internet days are kind of going away, and people are. I mean, ads is a good business, but it's like we've more or less killed the goose by showing so many ads to people, right? So people are tired of clicking on ads. It might be search will remain, or search will take the form of chat where you get the answers. People will ask questions, so asking questions will always be there. Searching for information will be there, but the link part will probably go down quite a bit, and people may still go to different links because if you want to hear a podcast, search for the best podcast to listen, and then you're going to click on the link and go to a podcast. The ad based model might go away, right? People are going to pay for subscription, so it is people. So as businesses, everyone, I mean, as consumers, we still will create tons loads of information. A lot of their information will be multimodal, as in there will be text, there's audio, there's going to be video. So it will take all of that form. AI will be used for answering questions from all of that information that exists. But the ad model is going to go down, and the importance of the link is also going to go down because that's the direction in the which user behavior is going to shift.
Understood. So if that happens, for example, and obviously links become less important, ads become irrelevant, then what's the motivation for small, medium, large enterprises to make content in the first place? What will drive that for them?
Correct. So people are not going to stop asking questions, right? Which means as businesses, we have to continue creating more useful information, best useful information. Google was our master for a long time. It still today is our master, and we would uh, make sure that we rank really well in Google. Now we're just changing to a different master now, right? And all these LLMs which are going to answer the questions for users because that's how the user behavior is changing. We'll also have to start creating useful information for LLMs maybe. So maybe people will need to learn how LLMs consume information, how they are able to use information to give the best possible answers. And we were always kind of writing for based on keywords and everything because that's how the Google algorithm works. And maybe the new algorithm we'll have to take care of is how the ChatGPT algorithm works or how it consumes data. And Google has always given out guidelines as to how to structure your page so that they can consume information. I'm just waiting for OpenAI to come out with its own recommendation that this is how ChatGPT is going to consume information. So add these points or these structure to your page so that we can scrape all your data and serve the best possible information to uh, their users. So I think we'll continue to create information. We just have to align better with how the users or consumers or readers are behaving, and whoever is the gateway. Google used to be the gateway. There's a new gateway that's emerging, and they will direct us as to what are the best ways for creating the information and content for consumption by people.
Understood. So what she's saying is there's going to be a new thing called the maybe the LLM optimization technique where you can optimize for large language models like ChatGPT, Anthropic's, Claude, um, Mistral. I mean, you name the AI of your choice, maybe Llama from Meta, for example, and there will be a separate approach to optimizing for these search engines of the future, which is the large language models.
Totally. I mean, LCO, LLM content optimization is going to replace SEO.
Understood. And if that is the case, I mean, if you look at some of these large language models, they don't even link back to you. So they might just get the information off your website, scrape it off, but they don't even link back to you. What do you think about that? Do you think that's going to become a requirement, necessity for the future?
I think the link, the importance of the link is going to go down, right? And uh, just because you get the traffic does not mean that uh, you convert it and you sales. And we, so that was the old way of doing things, right? You get a lot of traffic and you get traffic even through backlinking, shady traffic, whichever way, and that's how you sell your products, right? So now maybe the shift is going to become happen towards you have to create better products and you have to create a better process, a different and a better way of doing things, right? So if you have the best and more important way of doing things, that is what ChatGPT on the whole is going to learn, right? Because not only you, but other people are going to talk about your way of doing things. And even like for the products that I'm involved in building, we are leveraging new technology, we are leveraging AI to totally change the way things are being done. And if that is a smarter and better way of doing things, and not only you but other businesses also talking about a new way of doing things, that you the smartest LLMs will just redirect people to the best solution for doing that way of things. So not a, it's so we have to evolve from just the importance of link and getting traffic to smarter and better ways of doing things. Right? So AI has become smarter, and everybody complained that the best links are not there. It's so hard to do Google searches and find information on Google, or Google is coming up with all these different links, and there's so many other complaints about Bing also that people were posting about. Right? Bing is just not coming up with the best links and everything. And I think with leveraging AI, leveraging all these smart LLMs, there's a better way of surfacing information, more useful information for people, and which is going to lead people to the best possible ways of thinking solutions and everything. So, if, for example, if I was building a SaaS solution, I would not just try to, it no longer serves a purpose as to build another Me Too SaaS solution. You have to have a differentiated way of solving problems. And if that differentiated way of solving problems is better, there's a better thought into that product, and which people start loving, then that's what people will talk about, and that's what LLMs will start suggesting to their users. So I think the way to win the market is going to also require us to do more.
Let me say this way. One thing we say in sales is, even the best product has to be sold, and selling is all about getting leads, converting them, and then servicing them, doing a great job for them. The flywheel effect happens. You get more customers in the back of that. But now what you're saying is that obviously there will be no search engine the way we know it today. There will be no ads the way we know them. How do people then start selling themselves digitally? They still have to go sell themselves. They have to find, for example, a developer in Brighton, the UK, or Dallas in Texas. They have to kind of still optimize to kind of get more leads. So, what would the landscape of leads and sales of a digital world of the future?
Sure. So links have reduced in importance. Ads have also reduced in importance because consumers are going in the subscription model. In that kind of a world, we'll have to go really, really old school, the way people used to do it before the internet days, before there were ads, before there were links or websites. You just have to convince people one by one. You have to preach your message, you have to preach your way of doing things, you have to preach your solution, and do more one-on-one conversations, do maybe more podcasts, create interesting content so that people understand and believe in what kind of approach you're talking about. And you have to start convincing people, you have to create case studies, you have to create more value, which creates more word of mouth, more referrals, right? So in the old days, you couldn't just buy ads and get a lot of traffic. You would have a lot of word of mouth and everything. And I think those same rules will start to apply once more, right? And the more word of mouth there is, more referral is there. So people are talking about you. So, I mean, like Seth Godin says, like you create the purple cow, right? You create something which is remarkable, something that people want to talk about. And once people start talking about you, all the LMs are going to know that, oh, so many other people are talking about this, and this is starting to make sense. And you can't just create low quality content, get a lot of links, and fool Google anymore because LLMs are going to continue to become smarter. By the time we are at ChatGPT 4, then there's 5, and then by the time we are at 10, it is also going to be evaluate whether whatever is solution is being proposed by all these different people, does it even make sense or not? So you have to create that purple cow, a remarkable product as your starting point. You have to convince your initial set of early fans one by one, and then create that loop of referrals, of word of mouth. So that referral loops of word of mouth will still need to be there, but you can no longer leverage just pure linking and pure ads to make it happen. Content is still going to be super important, and but content needs to be high quality. And that's the other thing, right? So we also have to change our way of creating content, right? So it's no longer dumb content. We have to create really high quality content, and to create really high quality content is takes a lot of time and effort. So then we go back to full circle. We have to again leverage AI to do a lot of the content writing part for us, so that we have to do less work on putting the basic content piece structure in place, and then use our intelligence and our viewpoint of the world to add those last 20% of the value within the content, which makes it super useful for the readers.
Understood. Okay, let me just kind of challenge you on that a little bit because advertising didn't start with Google. It was there before as well. There were billboards, there were advertisements in newspapers and magazines, and that's been going on for decades. I mean, people in marketing was a is a new subject as a matter, but inherently it has been happening for many years in from advertising. So it's not a new concept as such. It still is. It was there before the search time and digital time. So do you think that there will be a different form of advertising? You think there will be like advertising within tools like ChatGPT in the future?
So there will always be advertising. It's not going to go totally away. We still have radio ads, even if people are not listening to radios, but there's still ads. So there will always be a freemium model of consumption. And whenever there's a premium model of consumption, it needs to be supported by ads. It's a model that works. So there'll always be ads. What is shifting is that people are more than willing to pay for subscription, which was not there previously. So subscription was very, very limited to maybe sports channels and things like that, which people found really interesting and high value. And uh, even on paid sports channel, I think there is still advertising. So advertising may not go away, but it is going to reduce in its how widespread it is. And the other thing that is going to happen is people who pay are the customers you want, right? So people who say I can just afford to pay and not see any ads, those are the customers that we are all chasing. So we have to I mean, we can still use ads and people will still use ads. Just the way, I mean, people are still sending out SMSs to do their marketing, even though SMSs are kind of ignored quite a bit. but SMS still work, so there's still conversion there. Or telecalling is still there, although people hate it. So all these outreach methods, including advertising, is going to be there. But for the premium customers, you need to create more value. You need to create valuable content. There is no work around that. I mean, there are no shortcuts to that.
Understood. Okay, let me just kind of point something else out that sounds very interesting. If you look at, obviously, my business has always been in the last few years about SEO and content creation. And if you look at, I was being very keen to understand about the connection between SEO and large language models and AI. Now, if we enter, for example, telecom content writing, which is where we are, Goodman is what we do, we still appear on ChatGPT, for example. And if you look at real-time searches in ChatGPT, it'll go to Bing. If you look at Bard or Gemini's real-time search, it'll go to Google. So there seems to be still a connection between the SEO and the large language model or the AI. What do you make of that?
Right, so all these large language models are leveraging Bing or Google and for ranking and everything because it's still a very big piece of work, right? And but there are all these different startups that are coming up which are creating better, which are processing that all those pages information in a better way. You see, the incentives for Google are not there to leverage its technology to pass that information in a better way. It can do that. That technology exists, but it is not doing that. And so, what happens if, because of all these regulations against Apple, Apple is forced to break away from Google, and Apple decides to create its own uh, a better Siri, right? So Google has downplayed Siri because and only surfaces information from Google within Siri if it at all does a search. If Apple is forced to do that, the technology exists, and suddenly the market is going to shift. So the market has not shifted because the incumbents are not incentivized to shift that market. But that could happen. And I will give you an example from another search engine or browser, Brave. So the Brave search engine actually has this concept of goggles where you can define different smart filters. For example, you can ignore the top 1000 websites and only see results from the lower ranked websites. Or you could only get results from websites which are popular on Hacker News. Even and for a lot of things, I actually like Brave Search, and it gives me more relevant results than uh, Google. So, isn't the goggles concept on Brave Search, which makes it more interesting and surfaces up results, kind of like a filter, which if we apply today's LLM technology or AI technology to it, can become smarter and smarter and smarter. And that filter is basically what people will want. So it's a new way of processing information rather than the page rank algorithm or the link building algorithm that Google relies on. Even if Google has a search index, so it's like a search index, it's ranking websites, that continues. That search algorithm is going to drastically change. It's going to be no longer rely on links. It is going to surface the best answers, best results. I mean, you anyways need some kind of an index, right? You have to index the best resource for pages for particular information, but uh, that ranking is going to be based on some LLM analyzing each page and defining whether what kind of questions it answers. So there's a very new kind of an index. There's in fact a startup called EXA.ai, which is actually solving this problem. And you can check it out sometime, but it has taken this view and it is providing its search API, which we are using for one of our products. And it surfaces results based on an AI analyzing all these different websites. And it's created its own index, uh, which is very differently mapped to user queries.
Yeah, I understand. I think the one which I've been using quite a lot is Perplexity AI, which has recently got 50 million uh, customers, subscribers. I'm not sure what it is. And if I look at their approach, it's also based on on Google search like tool. Because as you rightly mentioned, you have to index the content somehow, and it's a big job. Someone has to do this big job, and there are only a handful of people who can do this at scale, who can actually archive, we can actually create a version of the internet on their databases or their cache, and they can provide that. And I think Google and Bing are just some of them. But then if you look at the results, they sometimes replicate what you will expect from Google. And yes, they can understand the data much better using the AI, but their source is still clearly Google and Bing, because the way they pull data and how they rank data, for example, it seems to be very search centric. Maybe that will change in the future.
Correct.
I don't know.
Yes, exactly. So Google and Bing become the index, whereas the ranking is algorithm now changes and it's driven by AI.
So then, in that case, for companies that are small, medium, large, the only way right now to still be relevant is still to be indexed by search engines. Because if they're not indexed by search engines, they'll never be captured by the other LLM tools like Perplexity or U.com or the other ones. So do you think that's still relevant to actually be ranking for search engines? Because otherwise, there's no way to be captured or found out.
Being indexed is a very low bar, right? So you are indexed, and as long as you're in the top 10,000 links on Google, you'll be considered by Perplexity AI. So Perplexity AI is going to use Google's index, consider the top 10,000 or top 100,000 links, and then re-rank them based on its own AI system. So it's going to totally ignore the Google ranking system algorithm. It's just going to use it as an index to surface up the results, right? Why should it go out and crawl the internet when Google is already kind of doing it? And Google also has a base ranking system, but that's not the final ranking as far as AI is concerned.
Yes, but although it does seem that if the site ranks higher on Google, the Perplexity might show it more often than if it's not, in my experimentation. And maybe I'm wrong on that. Also, when you look at the real-time search, it seems to be that Bing is being searched step by step, and then the results, if it's found, stop the search there, shows the results there. I don't know if that's something you're seeing as well.
So, I mean, that may be there today, but users are paying for subscription, and all these solutions are going to compete on which one of them is smarter. AI. And the smartest AI will obviously ignore Google's ranking, because if Google's ranking is what is a determining factor, then what is the value that Perplexity is going to provide? Then people may as well as pay Google directly uh, the subscription amount, right? So Perplexity and all these solutions which are going to try and create their own value, they will have their own ranking systems, because that's their business incentive to differentiate themselves.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Perplexity is great because it can not only find the information, but also summarize it very well, create not only text, but images as well, and give me one solution with all the answers. And if I use their template feature, the template has the whole thing as well, so it knows where to put what answer for me. That's the value I see, at least from these tools at the moment.
Yes, and we should also remember that Apple is totally prepared to launch something big in this space. They have the GPUs. They're not limited by GPUs because they build their own M series processors, which have significant computation power. They have the ML engineering capacity. They have the distribution. They already have a product which, like Siri, which is a. I mean, it's such an easy interface, right? You just tap a button and you are just talking with AI directly. You don't need to open an app or anything like that. That's a crazy asset that they have, which for whatever reason they're not leveraging it today. But Apple could totally change the way things work, and then Apple becomes and Apple will not give its API to its search index to anybody else. So, but everybody will be using Apple, right? And they have the premium user base. So then Apple will become the new leader in how we create our content and customize our content so that it surfaces up in Siri. I mean, it's just a different new gateway space which are very much.
Yeah. It's funny because like for me, Siri's voice technology is so crap for me. It does never works for me. I mean, if I look at equivalent the OpenAI Whisper, I mean, it's just so clever and what it can pick up different accents, different talks, different languages so well. I don't know if Apple has ever done a good job for me. Google Assistant is exactly the same. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you are a pragmatist, so you see what's exists or what's feasible. I still like to dream a little bit as to what might happen in 5 years' time. But yeah, it's I think if I was doing any execution or working on things at the moment, it's better to be a pragmatist and see how things evolve. But if you're trying to create new technology, like I sometimes try to do, then it's always nice to dream a little more as to how things can evolve and everything. But yeah, today what you're saying makes sense, and Apple is unlikely to evolve Siri in a huge big way. And ranking in Google is still super important and will continue to be for the next few years at least. So the only thing is, I think the one thing that people should be prepared for and ready for is the time OpenAI may not be focused on it at the moment or may not even do it for the next 3 4 years. But if OpenAI says this is the way you can structure your content to make it more useful for ChatGPT, yeah, I mean that's everybody's going to rush for that immediately. But we'll come to it when that happens. I think at the moment it is important to leverage AI technology to create extremely useful content. And if we don't do that, then we are going to get left behind for sure.
Understood. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about what you've been up to. I mean, obviously, you have a lot of work you've been putting into startups and beyond. So currently, Vishal, what are you working on?
I think we've been exploring generative AI space for about 2 years now, ever since it got quite interesting. And we did a lot of different experiments to build out different projects. We did data analyst and everything. So we would always kind of prototype stuff, show it to customers, prospective customers, other startup founders to see what are they getting excited by. And I think two use cases have kind of emerged. Both are very content driven because I think that is what generative AI is kind of pretty good at. The first use case is purely in the consumerish space. We're creating content for D2C brands, but the simple problem is D2C brands have all this inventory products that they want to sell. They have sales data, so they have basically they can be data driven, and they need to create marketing to drive the next set of sales. But that there is too much latency lag between analyzing the data and creating marketing content to drive the next set of sales which are needed by their business operations. So the one way to reduce all of this lag, latency, make more optimized decisions and be faster in the market and in the consumer space you need to be super fast is by automating all of this end to end. So you take the inventory data, you take the sales data, analyze it. Based on that, you generate content which is ready to publish. So today, for one of our products called Glue, we are already generating email marketing content which is ready to publish. Uh, and can also be adapted to WhatsApp messages ready to publish. These are all consumer marketing messages for selling products for D2C brands. And we are also developing out the short video maker, which is ready to publish videos. So these are high quality content, fully generated by AI, based on all the product information data that the brand already has to generate ready to publish consumer content. Ready to publish consumer content is easier for consumer products like coffee, tea, clothes, all of that, because that's a much better understood domain. It's not as technical and everything. So it works in that case. The other very interesting project that I'm part of is Climb Code. And within Climb Code, we are focused on B2B content generation for B2B SaaS companies like telecom. And in that domain, we are leveraging AI to get us to 60-70% of what the content needs to be. There's a structure, there's a content, there is a domain knowledge, there's industry knowledge. But what AI cannot do is add that viewpoint or knowledge specific to the SaaS business. So we create ready to generate content, which is almost 80-90% done, give it to a business, and then they can add their own perspective, their knowledge, their perspective of the market, how their solution fits in, very unique positioning that they have, and they add it to that, and then they publish that content. And because we've already structured out the content so well, leveraging AI, it is not only easy for them to add in their own viewpoint in within that structure, and sometimes the smartest engineers who are building great products or have great solutions do not know how to tell a good story, do not know how to position uh, their perspective within the overall broader context. The AI actually helps generating content which takes care of those aspects which they may not be good at. The their unique perspective is what they are good at, and that's what they can do that. So on the consumer side, we can do fully automated AI content because it's I mean, these are more common topics, but on technical products, B2B side, Climb Code is uh, actually a very strong collaboration between AI and people or humans, right? To create the best quality content, which their customers will find useful, and even ChatGPT and other LLMs will find it useful to read all of that perspective, get that unique perspective, and be able to answer questions that people will have who are looking for solutions in that particular industry. Two, one consumer side, one business side, two different products. But I think um AI is there where it is stupid not to be leveraging AI for any content generation process and everything. We actually tried to build AI products back in 2015, 2017, and 2016 is when the Transformers paper came out. Attention is all you need. At that time, we realized there is a lot of work that is pending, and the more standard techniques are not going to really solve the problem. And we had taken a pause between 2017 and 2020 to not worked in AI except for the healthcare projects that I was doing, so which was more standard machine learning stuff. But now I think generative AI is back, and it's going to work really, really well, and it's it's going to progress at a very fast pace. So it is imperative for us as people building the next generation of products to not be leveraging this technology. Content is definitely a place where all of this technology can get create a lot of value, and it's taken us a lot of iteration actually to figure out how to leverage the technology in a real way and build it in such a way that it actually delivers human expert level output at the end of the day. So it's taken a while, but I think uh, you have to really start understanding how the technology is behaving and everything. So and how it's evolving, and to design systems for testing and quality assurance. You don't want your AI systems or solution to hallucinate and everything. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey building this out.
Thank you for sharing. This is amazing, amazing nuggets of information there, Vishal. So if you were to summarize or maybe give one advice in a minute's time, what would you advise maybe the entrepreneurs of tomorrow, students, marketeers, brands, anybody you might have in 1 minute? What would be your one piece of advice for this market to help them grow their future?
My one piece of advice is that understand, acknowledge that the world is changing at a rapid pace in a big way because of the AI technology improvements of the last couple of years. Well, billions of dollars are going to this. The largest computing resources are going to this. So it's a trend which is not going to stop right now. It's going to continue. and it is going to totally change the way things work. It's not just new technology, it's a new way of doing things. It's impacting user behavior. So the sooner you get onto it, the better it is. It's like if you're not actively observing, following, pursuing, using AI solutions, building AI systems, or leveraging AI in your business or in the product you're building, then you wish that you were doing that in a couple of years. Pay attention.
Fantastic. Pay attention is the final words from Vishal. Thank you, Vishal, for such an insightful session today about AI and beyond, the future, as it were, of technology, marketing, and startups. Vishal, where can we find you? If we're looking to find you online, that's still a thing in the future. Where can we find you and learn more about you, what you're up to?
I'm still reasonably Googleable, so if you search for Vishal Chandra, that should surface up my link at least on the first page. But yeah, LinkedIn is the best place to reach out to me and connect with me. And yeah, vishalchandra at gmail.com always works. So I prefer email as a form of communication, so that's a way to reach out to me.
Fantastic, Vishal. Thank you once again for the jumping on, Vishal. Lovely talking to you. Great insights, and thank you for your time today.